Hey everyone, welcome to Reddit Readout. Today we are checking out RulesHorror. Story 1. Dreameaters are hunting. Follow these rules to stay safe. This is a public service announcement from the United States government. Please do not turn off your device, and pay close attention to the instructions listed in this announcement. They may save your life. At the time of this announcement, entities that will be referred to as Dreameaters have swept across the country and claimed over 500,000 lives. To prevent further deaths, we have created an announcement to help keep you safe until the problem can be resolved. Thus, pay attention to the information listed. Description: the physical description of what a Dreameater appears like tends to change from person to person. Generally, they appear as an amalgamation of the things that their target wants most. An example of a common appearance are deformed creatures made of molten gold with the name of their victim in the center, representing the victim's desire for wealth and fame. Behavior: when a Dreameater is in the vicinity of its target, it will slowly move toward the victim at a relatively sluggish pace. This makes them fairly easy to escape under most circumstances. However, if they make contact with their target, they will latch on and drain the victim of life, leaving them as a shell and nothing else. This results in immediate death, and once a person has been affected, it is impossible to save them. Thus, it is imperative that one be careful around these creatures. However, there is a certain special attribute to these creatures, which is their ability to manifest themselves near their victim when the target strongly desires something. Whether this be wealth, fame, or anything else, the Dreameater is capable of teleporting to their location should they let these emotions go out of check. This can even apply to the desire to escape, making the Dreameater especially dangerous. When their victim is asleep, a Dreameater is capable of manifesting themselves near their target, hence their namesake. Thus, it can be extremely dangerous to fall asleep. With that in mind, we have prepared rules to help you survive. Rule 1. Contrary to what would be normal in an event such as this, you must unlock every possible exit to your house. In doing so, you give yourself an easy escape should one manifest. Locking your home is worthless due to the teleportation ability of these entities, and thus, will not work. Rule 2. Do not fall asleep if you are alone. You will not wake up should you fail to follow this rule. You must stay awake until this event is over if you are alone. However, if you are with another person, at least one of you must stay awake if one of you should fall asleep. That way, they can be woken up in the event that a Dreameater attacks. Rule 3. Stay calm. A Dreameater cannot manifest itself near you as long as you do not allow your desires to run out of control. This means you must not wish for anything during the duration of this event. Otherwise, you may be put at serious risk. Rule 4. Do not attempt to fight the creatures. They are impervious to normal weaponry, and though they can be slowed down with projectiles, engaging in close combat is far too risky to be a viable option. Remember, one touch is all it takes. Rule 5. Do not give up hope. We are working on this situation as quickly as possible and attempting to find the root cause of these creatures. As soon as we have discovered a solution, this event will end. Hope is not lost. We will survive. It has come to our attention that false letters have been discovered to have been going around that contain information which will summon Dreameaters and incapacitate the victim. Do not follow these instructions, as they will lead to your death. A common theme with these letters is a promise to grant every desire of the victim. Stay vigilant, and do not fall for these traps. We are working on a solution as this announcement is being broadcasted. Remember, there is hope. Do not give up. Follow these instructions and you will be safe. Stay together. Stay calm. Stay hopeful. Story 2. Creature classifications for Immanese Ocean. It saddens me to see another explorer go on a voyage into Immanese Ocean. You packed all this gear and memorized a full list of rules just so you can die at sea like everyone else who came here. At Immanese Ocean, you either end up as a hero, or a sacrificial lamb, and you're almost certainly going to end up as the latter. However, I'm the person responsible for teaching you about our classification system, so that you can properly document the things you find out there. As an explorer, your job is to help Fortis Corporation with finding different creatures that are in these waters. Your tracker gun is the main part of this, and with it, you can mark a creature so that we may find it later on. However, you are also responsible for performing an initial assessment to help gauge the danger of a specific entity. With that in mind, there are some basic guidelines you should remember. Never, under any circumstances, put your own life at serious risk while trying to document these creatures. It's better for us to lose some information, and for you to lose a paycheck, than for both of us to lose a life. Always still vigilant on the open waters, because letting your guard down may mean death if you're unlucky. Keep your equipment by your side at all times, or return to shore immediately. If you don't have your equipment, you're either in extreme danger, or unable to do your job. Don't be foolish. Your guns aren't made for fighting everything, or rather, there are some things that you just can't fight. If you can't damage something, then just flee. Now, let's move on to the classification system, which I'll explain to you as concisely as possible. First, let's start with overall danger. Danger classifications. Alpha class. The alpha class of wildlife is the weakest of them all. These creatures are usually either peaceful, or are unable to cause harm even if they tried. However, please still respect them, as they are an important part of the ecosystem. Beta class. The beta danger classification is the second weakest level. Most of these creatures are unable to cause significant damage to your boat, though they may whittle it down over time. These creatures can also cause minor injuries should a member of your crew be directly exposed to them. These creatures should not be cause for concern, though you should certainly be wary around them, as they can still inconvenience you and your crew. Gamma class. The Gamma class is in the middle of the danger level. These creatures can cause harm, though they generally are not too difficult to fight or escape from. If sighted, it is usually safe to assume that Gamma class creatures will be hostile. However, there is no reason to panic as they can be dealt with by following the proper instructions. Delta class. The Delta class is where creatures begin to reach noticeable levels of danger. If you end up encountering one of these monsters, you should run. Trying to fight it is just going to make you another sacrificial lamb to teach other people why these creatures are so dangerous in the first place. Stay away and stay cautious. Epsilon class. The Epsilon class is the final public classification of ocean creatures, and the most dangerous one. Epsilon class marine animals will sink your boat if they take notice of you. Please stay away from them at all costs, as once they see you, you might as well mark yourself as a dead man. Now, allow me to explain the second system we use to classify these creatures, which is general rarity. This system helps to give you a general idea of how rare a creature is. Common. Creatures that are classified as common will generally be seen quite often. You should expect to run into them during your journey across the sea, and thus, be prepared to face them depending on their difficulty level. Uncommon. Creatures that are classified as uncommon aren't going to show themselves that often, though will occasionally pop up from time to time. Don't expect to find these creatures. Rare. Creatures which are classified as rare may not even show themselves to you during the entirety of your lifetime. They are incredibly elusive, and will very rarely appear to anyone. However, you should still memorize the rules regarding these creatures in the event that one does appear. The third system we use to classify creatures from the sea is through level of aggression, which should help you understand the best course of action. Low. Creatures with a low level of aggression are generally either peaceful or very unlikely to attack you unless provoked. However, low aggression does not mean a low danger level, and you should still be careful around these entities. Medium. Creatures with a medium level of aggression will usually be prone to attacking sailors, and will not hesitate to strike if they feel the need to. However, these creatures should usually retreat if they feel as though chasing after their prey is too troublesome. High. Creatures with a high level of aggression should not be taken lightly no matter what. In the event you encounter one of these entities, either you or the creature is sinking into the ocean. Do not try to escape or deter these creatures, because they are fully prepared to put extreme effort into taking down their prey. That's pretty much all of the classification notes you'll have to remember for your voyages into Imani's Ocean. These notes are made for you to quickly understand the general course of action you should take when encountering an entity. If you want to know the specific details, you should read their actual catalogued entry to see the rules behind dealing with them. Remember all of the guidelines I told you about, because chances are that they'll save your life out there. I'd really appreciate it if you came back as a hero, rather than as another sacrifice to the ocean, because everyone here needs hope. Don't come back dead. Story 3. Video Production 23 Class Guidelines. Students who do not take video production 2 or 3 are forbidden from entering the studio and using studio and control room equipment. VP1 students may only enter and use equipment when their VP teacher instructs it. General rules. Respect the teacher. You don't want to get sent to the office and get a call home, do you? The teacher has the highest authority minus higher level staff members. Do not take instructions from adults who are not your teacher. They do not know what they are doing. Obviously, if the principal comes in, you best listen to them instead. Do not fool around with the equipment. If you passed VP1, you should know this by now. Fooling around with the studio equipment may result in fines, injury, or death. Surprise, people have died horsing around with the cameras. Look out for your classmates, together we live and divided we fall. Despite your differences, you all must work together to produce the news segment for the next day. If your classmate is making a mistake, correct them. A dead classmate results in more work for the rest of you, and you guys are a small class. However, if your classmate refuses to participate, inform the teacher. They will be dealt with accordingly. You are being watched, of course, by your teacher. You're doing this as a participation grade and to bring reliable news to your school. There are other presences in this studio though. Keep your eye out for them. Leave edible items in the classroom. You don't want to accidentally spill something on a computer or have your food tampered with when you aren't looking. Also, the janitor isn't fond of crumbs where they don't belong. Don't fool around with the intercom system. You may communicate with your classmates via speaking to each other directly or using the intercom system when speaking to someone in a different room. Use it for production purposes only or in the special case that equipment has been tampered with and you need everyone to leave. Use it for any other purpose and the presence might be up for some conversation. You probably would rather live without knowing what they had to say to you. Studio rules. Camera operators may not leave their station without permission. If you have to use the bathroom, hold it in or ask the teacher. It would be rude to leave without asking, and you will not be welcome inside until the next day. Your classmates need to calm down from being pissed that they were left with more work and the presences need to understand that it was not a form of disrespect. If your teacher refuses your request to use the bathroom, hope you can hold it in for 30 minutes. Camera operators may not use the white balance, unless you would like to drain all color from the world. If the video in the camera is too bright or too dark, tell the video engineer who can white balance it from the control room accordingly. Camera operators must lock tilt and pan locks after they are finished using the camera. This is the most important rule. Breaking it results in a broken camera and slash or a broken face. If you leave it on, the camera will tilt all the way back until it faces the ceiling. It will either break or be vulnerable to the tampering of the presence. The former will result in a pissed off teacher, an ass beating, and forking out money for the new camera. With the latter, the next person who uses the camera will have the camera turn against them and crush them to death. That will always be you, and the last thing you will see are the words, "Lock your pan and tilt" on the camera screen. Do not play with the camera focus, unless you'd like to lose your eyesight and leave more work for the person who uses the camera after you. Inform the floor manager if you believe the camera has been tampered with. Anchors may not fool around in the seats. The seat will throw you off and make you hit your head against the wall. resulting in you bleeding out. Don't do that. Do not fight with each other, you will delay production time and I'm sure you wouldn't want to be here longer than you would like to. Act normal on camera, while you are reciting the news, the presence will try to distract you by doing stunts that range from hilarious to horrifying. Do not react. It will decrease the impact the presence has on you and your classmates. Reacting has the opposite effect. Floor managers are in charge, do exactly what they say unless it breaks any other rules. Floor managers take instructions from the director, just because you're in power doesn't mean you can say whatever the hell you want. The director knows best. Listen to them and use your judgment to get the rest of the studio to listen to you too. Failure to do this will result in your classmate's death, and that isn't a burden you'd like to carry. Be attentive, you're in charge, you should know when something is wrong. If the air smells slightly foul, if the camera snaps in a way that seems unusual, if the anchors seem more terrified than ever, you should know. You should pick up on that and inform the director, who will present you with your next course of action. Everyone do not swap rules with the control room, they have their own demons to fight and their own rules to follow. They don't need to mix up their rules with yours. Control room rules. Don't be a dumbass, just because you are safe from the presence doesn't mean you are free to do whatever the hell you want. Abide by general rules, look out for your classmates in the control room and in the studio, you can see them through the glass, and don't piss anyone off. Don't flip the light switch up near the ceiling, first of all, how do you manage to reach that? Previous students have made many theories about why there is a random light switch that isn't connected to anything. But with the unnatural gurgling that ricochets throughout the walls, we came to the consensus that some things are simply not worth knowing. Directors must be aware and attentive at all times, one wrong move, and you could mess up everything for your entire class. Video engineers must use the white balance with care, in the event that the white balance isn't properly set and the director or camera operators ask you to white balance the camera, do so with caution. Too bright and you fill the world with so much light that it burns your eyes. Too dark, and it blackens the room until you can't see a thing, allowing the presence to travel hidden and tamper with the equipment. Directors must escort everyone out if the equipment has been tampered with. If you or your classmates have any reason to believe that the equipment was been tampered with, immediately halt production and instruct everyone to make their way toward the classroom. Do not return until the next week. Camera operators must make sure to lock their pan and tilt before leaving. Tampered equipment can cause serious harm, mental and physical, or death, so it's best to leave before a computer or a camera malfunctions. Audio engineers must handle sound with care, too low and you deafen yourself and others permanently, too high and your eardrums burst. Similar to the video engineer. Everyone turn off all computers after you are finished with production, leaving a computer on is your best bet if you want something tampered with. How to know if something has been tampered with? Camera pan and tilt locks are unlocked. Equipment malfunctions. Internet service suddenly slows down / stops. Your classmates' voices sound distorted in the intercom. Equipment doesn't work the way it's supposed to, the slider to increase the volume of the anchor's microphone decreases it or vice versa. These rules are not meant to be confused with VP Club rules. There is a separate rule sheet for that. F***CK High School. That's all for today. Please don't forget to like and subscribe.